In 2008, a NASA radar satellite passed over the eastern Sahara. It was not looking for cities, it was mapping terrain. The images came back wrong. Beneath the sand, in places beneath 40 meters of it, the radar returned outlines that sand does not make. Straight lines, angles, what appeared to be roads running parallel, intersections. Structures that repeated at intervals that suggested planning, not geology. The data was published. A few researchers noted it. Then, largely, the world moved on. Nobody has gone to see what is at the end of those roads. The standard account of the Sahara goes like this. It has always been a desert. It is the largest hot desert on Earth, covering roughly 9 million square kilometers. It has been, in the popular imagination, a timeless wasteland, empty before recorded history, empty now. That account is wrong and has been known to be wrong for decades. Between approximately 11,000 BC and 5,000 BC, the Sahara was green. Climate scientists call this the African humid period. The West African monsoon shifted northward. Rain fell, lakes formed. Rivers ran permanent channels across what is now open desert. Hippos lived in what is now Libya. Cattle herders painted the stone walls of what is now Algeria. People were here. We have rock art, tool scatters, animal bones, and lake sediment cores that confirm it. The Sahara was not empty. It was inhabited, perhaps densely, for thousands of years. The question historians have never fully answered is this: where did those people build? The 2008 radar dataset, released through the Shuttle Radar Topography Mission archives, identified subsurface features across a region of approximately 8,000 square kilometers in what is now the Egyptian Western Desert. The features sit beneath terrain that receives, on average, less than 1 millimeter of rain per year. Whatever built those features did so when the water table was far higher. That much is not in dispute. The first anomaly is scale. The road-like features do not appear in isolation. They form a network. Individual linear structures run for several kilometers before intersecting others at angles consistent with planned routes, not natural drainage. Natural wadis, ancient riverbeds, do appear in the same dataset. The researchers distinguished between them and the anomalous features based on regularity. Geology does not produce right angles at consistent intervals. That alone might be explained. Ancient caravan trails can produce linear marks that persist underground. But there was more. At several points along the network, the radar returned denser returns, areas of higher reflectivity that indicate packed, compressed material different from the surrounding substrate. These are consistent with built foundations. They are not consistent with wind-deposited sand or sediment layering. The returns cluster. They do not drift or taper. They occupy specific coordinates that recur across the data. In the southwest of the survey area, one cluster of high reflectivity returns covers approximately 3 square kilometers. That is not a house. That is not a camp. A 3 square kilometer footprint, if confirmed, is a city. Rock art found at sites across the central Sahara, including the Tassili Najjar Plateau in Algeria and the Wadi Mathendus in Libya, depicts scenes of organized life. Cattle herds numbering in the hundreds, processions, rituals, figures dressed with evident complexity. These paintings date between 7,000 and 5,000 BC. They are not the art of scattered nomads, they suggest surplus. The kind produced by settled communities with territory to defend and time to record. Settlements from the Neolithic period in the Fayum Depression, roughly 300 kilometers east of the anomaly zone, show grain storage, linen production, and organized burial as early as 5,200 BC. That is 2 centuries before the first Egyptian dynastic settlements. Someone was living at scale in this region before Egypt began. The final piece sits in the geological record. Sediment cores drilled from Lake Yoa in northern Chad show a sharp transition layer dated to approximately 5000 BC. Below the layer, pollen from grasses, trees, and flowering plants. Above it, almost nothing. The desertification was not gradual. It happened in decades, possibly in a single human generation. A population that had built across this landscape would have had almost no warning. No expedition has excavated the coordinates identified in the 2008 dataset. The Egyptian Western Desert is remote, logistically difficult, and politically complicated. Funding for sub-Saharan prehistoric archaeology moves slowly. These are real explanations. They are not the same as an investigation. We have the coordinates. We have ground-penetrating radar technology capable of confirming what the satellite data suggests. We have regional precedent. The settlement at Goboro in Niger was excavated beginning in 2003 and yielded a cemetery of nearly 200 individuals buried with grave goods dated to 7,700 BC. The technology exists. The evidence exists. The dig has not happened. What the record does not contain is any systematic survey of the ground above those radar returns. No core samples, no test trenches, no published ground truthing of the satellite anomalies. 7,000 years of sand sit on top of whatever was there. The desertification that ended the African humid period would have buried everything quickly. Wind-driven sand in the Sahara accumulates at rates measured in centimeters per year under the right conditions. In 5,000 years, at even half that rate, you reach 40 meters. That is exactly the depth at which the satellite returns are coming back.
A civilization that disappeared before writing existed would leave no record of its own disappearance. No texts, no king lists, no collapsed narratives. Just structures buried at the exact depth you would expect in a region we have confirmed was inhabited by complex, settled communities at the exact period the radar data targets. The silence in the record is the shape of what we have not looked for. The 2008 radar data is still in the public archive. Anyone can access it. The coordinates have not changed. 40 meters down in the eastern Sahara, there is something that reflects radar differently from the sand around it. It is 3 kilometers across. It sits at the end of a road network that runs for dozens of kilometers in multiple directions. It dates, if the geology is consistent, to a period when this was Greenland, open water, and organized human settlement. The painted cattle are still on the rock walls of the Tassili Plateau. They were painted by people who lived somewhere. They came from somewhere. They went somewhere when the rain stopped and the sand came. No one has looked.